Wanted to reconvene the Wednesday, February 15th Township Morris regular meeting. Ask Sue Young, our chair of our Environmental Commission, to give us a presentation on our community.
Thank you so much. As you can see, we have a logo. This is one of our gardeners, Kristen Schuler, who developed this for us, and it's in the plot schematic. We have two large plots on either side, the two medium plots in the center top, and then three smaller plots. And we are book solid, even though we have extended it this year. So first time we've ever had a real waiting list. I wanted to extend our thanks and gratitude to all the people and organizations who helped make this garden, the Ted Largent Morris Township Community Garden at Valley View, possible. Albert and Sharon Rosenhaus and their family for the vision, the Trust for Public Land, the MCMUA, the Morris County Freeholders, the Morris County Open Space Trust, our own Morris Township Open Space Committee, and you folks here, the Morris Township Committee. The Valley View Preserve is our open space money in dollars in action. The exciting thing about this is that the Valley View Preserve meets all 7 goals of the Morris Township Open Space Initiative 2004. It's protection of the water recharge areas and water supply lands because Washington Valley is in the headwaters of the Whippany River. Protection of the environmentally sensitive area, which is Washington Valley. It still remains a PA5. We encourage preservation of the township remaining farmland. We are an organic farm, and we will stay that way. We identify and protect the scenic views and vistas of Morris Township. The new trail will traverse about 3/4 of a mile around to the west, and will overlook the valley, and we hope to have a bench out there so people can see the vista from a unique standpoint. And we created or will create interconnected trail and greenway systems. This trail will eventually connect Jockey Hollow Top Reserve, the Abbey Acquisition at Del Barton, Foster Fields, Lewis Morris, Patriots Path, and other Morris Township greenways and open spaces as they are connected. We maximize the field uses as never before in this field. We have 105 plots this year. We had 75 last year. And the acquisition of land to expand passive and active recreation opportunities. Gardening is work. Weeds grow magnificently in our soil because we take such good care of the soil. And rocks. We have little rocks. They're not big boulders, but they are a real pain. We keep uncovering more and more. And the results this year, even though we started late, was 600 pounds of produce donated to the Interfaith Food Bank over in Morris Plains. I'm very proud of the gardeners. But we couldn't have done all of this without the Morris Township Parks and Recreation team. If you don't know what they do a phenomenal job. They had so much to do last year, and yet they still found time to produce our garden. And I can't say enough about their fearless director, Bill Fulsch, who is here. John Sanders, Earl Kochi, Rich Gervasio, Mike Russo, who actually became the ambassador within the rock ambassador. He would drive around as he was cutting the lawn, picking up we had all the rocks piled in the corners. We weren't allowed to put them in, throw them in the grass. So Mike was just our very cheerful rock collector. Tim Hanfeld, Andrea, and Joe at the desks manning and doing some work for me, organizing the garden, the people bringing in their application. And Jenny Murphy for her website skills, and Tim Quinn for his patience and guidance. So one of the comments that most people say when they come into our garden, especially the county gardeners, because the county's right next to 287, they come into this garden, this is what it used to look like. Probably still does in some areas. And they pull me aside, they say, "Do you hear that?" And I said, "Yeah, isn't it great? It's so quiet, it's so peaceful, you can almost see people's blood pressure dropping because it's so great." Let's see. This is when Isla had it. Isla had a small CSA, organic gardening. She worked it really, for one person, she did a fine job. But she didn't want to join us, actually. And this is what it looked like. We had to take a few trees down, and we will eventually put new trees in their place. This is the opening that we had. And then the driveway and the parking lot started to take form. Pipeline, and that's part of the road bed drainage system. This is our water meter. It took a long time to get this. This sort of, as I understand, allows us not to blast the plants out of the garden. It sort of is a pressurized container for our water. But it took a long time for us to get the top, and yet it came in. And then Bill had his team trench for our water system. We are one of the only gardens that actually have water at the locations of the farm and the gardeners. But they found it had a lot of rock, so they had to get stone dust, so that each time they did something, they had to modify it, and they were very good. This is where the hose bibs are. Our giving gardens up here, and these two were opened, our neighborhoods were opened this year. And you can see how they've marked off all of the plots. In the center is our water system. This is Franny's. She no longer is with us. She moved to Harding, unfortunately, but she had a small garden that she created, and it evolved over the summer. And her children were there. She had 3 children who came into the garden and they played. And she added other things. She had a picnic table there as well. So we had about 5 children in the garden, and they were very well attended to, and they helped their moms and dads. This is people getting started. And this is Mary Albright. Mary is one of our master gardeners. So you can see this is Paul Woodford down in his garden. And this is another view. Some gardeners had different ways. This is Herbert and Cynthia. There's Paul back again. But each gardener had their own way of doing things. So people just planted them and had different structures. Some had raised beds. Some people tried corn, but the squirrels and raccoons got to them before anyone could actually eat them. This is the tomato plant is actually upside down, and this is no squash plants. And our Parks and Recreation created our sign. I'm very proud of this sign. I'm going to learn how to do this myself. And we had our opening ceremonies, and Mr. Mancuso was our master of ceremonies. And this was to honor Ted Largeman. We had Christine Myers and Louise was here. About 75 different gardeners came as well. This is Rick Largeman and his father. It was a very hot day. In fact, all summer we were really sweltering. If you didn't get in the garden early in the morning, you had to wear a lot of sunscreen. This was my first harvest. I'm very proud of it. And there's nothing like a Jersey tomato. Peppers don't like me, so I give them away to other people. This is my squash. And this is another week that but these 3 We tried one, and we couldn't speak for about half a day. Very hot. And they turned bright yellow-orange, and even though these were picked early, we had to make, when we gave some to the food bank, we had to especially mark them, and they were dangerous, watch out. Other people tried potato towers instead of growing the plants in the soil. The potato towers can grow up, and at each level it would produce more potatoes. So we're experimenting. I was amazed at how many different ways of doing things. We also participated in the Morris County Community Open Gates program. That was Cynthia Triolo, the director of the Frelinghuysen Arboretum, and they did all the advertisements for us. Whole Foods gave us the snacks. And we had about 30 visitors, and that's pretty good for the first unknown garden. And we're so far away from all the other participating gardeners. But we had our own volunteers, and people came. We were open on Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon. This is our new fence and gate. We have four gates, one in the back, this one, and 2 others on the side. And we waited all summer for that, although John and his team made a temporary gate which worked quite well. We also encourage everyone to go to the different programs in and around the area. Farmer Sean's program at the Urban Farm, he's part of Grow It Green, the director of agriculture for them. We have his bees up in the corner of our garden. And also the Arboretum and County Extension offices have programs, and we have 2 master gardeners, Mary Albright and Mary Olin, who was accepted last September, and she's going to be getting her master gardening. She's at the Rutgers program. This year we had a team, the team expanded the garden by 35 plots. Many of the gardens added additional plots to their current plots, and now we have a waiting list, which is great. So I think we will look perhaps for additional gardening locations to accommodate the waiting list in the future. This was what we felt like, pretty much, at 12 o'clock noon. This is our nemesis that we had 1 case of Lyme's disease. This is the typical wood tick that you see, the larger of the ones. This is a little one that's as big as it gets. It's the size of a poppy seed, and you probably don't even know that it's on you. But if it's carrying Lyme's, then you will eventually feel the effects of Lyme's. So we encourage our gardeners to spray their sneakers or boots or clothing and to wash them when they leave the garden so that we don't have additional problems. We had beautiful squash plants until these guys came along. Not very large, about the size of the stink bugs that you find in your house once in a while. These are the egg masses. They got a little out of hand after a while, maybe because it was so hot. This is the Colorado potato beetle, about 1/4 of an inch. But they do a lot of damage. We had flea beetles, really tiny ones, but they decimated our eggplants. And this guy is the squash borer. And all of Paul Woodford's beautiful squash plants had one of these they lay their eggs, they grow the larva. The larva absolutely in one day you have beautiful plants, the next day they're just dead. So he had to remove them all from the garden premise. We have all our diseased plants taken off premise. Our raccoon. And this little guy, we had Chris Grant, who was a brand new gardener, planted his tomato plants exactly the way you should, with a fish head, with some Epsom salts and bone meal. The bear actually tore the back gate off of its hinges to get to the fish heads. you could smell the fish heads everywhere inside the garden. But it taught us a lesson that we can't put fish heads in. Albie Rosenhaus had never seen a bear, but he saw the footprints. I wanted to thank also Todd Goldberg, who's donated some material for our new patio that we're going to be putting in this year. We'll have benches and places. We hope to have some meetings and maybe in a couple events this year with that. This is what it looked like on Monday. It's all waiting. And Bill sent me this. If you've never experienced the joy of accomplishing more than you can imagine, plant a garden. And that is.
Thank you very much. Anyone from the dais have any questions or comments?
Just very quickly, I mean, we thanked everybody for help, and I want to take some time to thank Sue Young for dedicating a lot of her own time. I know this has been a passion of yours, and we've talked about it for years. I want to thank you for kind of taking the bull by the horns and making it happen. Without you, it would not have happened as expediently and as well as it has. So
Well, it worked out. Everyone worked so hard. And this year we're going to increase our donations to not only the interfaith food bank, but the soup kitchen in Morristown that has asked us to participate. So I don't know how that will work because it's not, it's real food as opposed to a can or.
Right. It's great. It's great, thank you.
I'd just like to comment, if you haven't been out there, it is like a little piece of heaven out there. And just seeing those crops growing, not in the supermarket, it is just, it's really gorgeous. So thank you so much, Sue, and if I can help with the soup kitchen link, let me know. I think I made some initial contacts there.
Okay.
Yeah, there are ways to deal with raw vegetables there, so,
Right.
yeah. Thank you.
Because when we pick them, we take them. It's not that they're just waiting to be taken over as soon as they're harvested. We take them over to the food.
Okay, that's just great. Thank you.
Come on out.
I will.
We'll give you some tomatoes. We
Thank
always
you
have
so much,
plenty
sir.
of tomatoes.
There's always tomatoes.
Thank you very much. See you soon.